Chapter 25. Pao Wen-cheng meets an old acquaintance in Nanking, and Ni Ting-hisi finds a bride in Anqing. Pao Wen-cheng was looking in the North City for boys for his opera company when, halfway up the Drum Tower slope, he met a man in an old felt hat, tattered black silk gown, and shabby red shoes. His grey beard flecked with white made him look over 60, and he was carrying a battered fiddle pasted with a white paper on which was written, Musical Instruments Mended. Pao stepped forward and clasped his hands in salute. "Can you mend instruments, uncle?" he asked. "I can." "May I trouble you then to step into the tea shop with me?" They went into a tea shop and sat down and ordered tea. "May I ask your name, uncle?" inquired Pao. "My name is Ni. Where do you live?" "A long way from here, at the Three Arches." "You say you mend musical instruments, Mr. Ni. Can you mend the lute and three-stringed guitar?" "Yes." "My name is Pao. I live at Westwater Gate and work in the theatre. I have some instruments at home which are in very bad condition, and I would like you to repair them. I don't know, though, whether I should trouble you to come to my house to mend them, or send them to your house." "How many instruments are there?" 7 or 8, I should say." 7 or 8 would be difficult to carry. I had better come to your house. It shouldn't take more than a couple of days to mend them, and I shall ask only for the midday meal. I will go home in the evening." "Very good," said Pao, "but I hope you don't take offense if we can't entertain you well. When can I trouble you to come?" "Tomorrow I am busy. I will come the day after tomorrow." Just as they agreed on this, a hawker passed the door with a load of Pachima cakes, and Pao brought half a caddy to share with Mr. Ni, after which he took his leave. "I shall expect you then, uncle," he said, the day after tomorrow in the evening." Mr. Ni agreed, and each went his way. On his return home, Pao told his wife to have all the instruments cleaned and carried into the sitting room. The morning that Mr. Ni arrived, he was offered tea and cakes and then started preparing the instruments. After some time, 2 boys who were staying in the house to study for the stage brought in a vegetarian meal which Pao shared with Mr. Ni. In the afternoon, Pao went out. On his return, he said to the old man, "We have treated you very shabbily, uncle, giving you such a poor meal. It was most impolite. Let us go out to a restaurant now. You had better leave the other instruments for tomorrow." "I shouldn't put you to so much trouble," said Mr. Ni. They went to a tavern, found a clean, quiet table, and sat down. The waiter came over and asked if there were more guests. "There are no more," said Mr. Ni. "What do you have?" Ticking off the items on his finger, the waiter said, "Joint duck, fish casserole, mandarin fish and wine, mixed grill, chicken tripe, fried pork, Pekin-style fried pork, sliced pork, meatballs, mackerel, boiled fish head, and cold pork." "You shouldn't treat me as a guest," said Mr. Ni to Pao. "Let us have a simple cold dish." But Pao would not hear of this. He ordered first a portion of duck to go with the wine, then sliced fried pork and rice. The waiter disappeared with the order into the kitchen, to reappear shortly with 1 portion of duck and 2 pots of wine. Pao stood up to pour a cup of wine for Mr. Ni, then sat down to drink. "You look like a man who has studied, uncle," he said. "Why do you spend your time mending instruments?" "Mine is a sad story," replied Mr. Ni with a sigh. "I passed the district examination at 20, 37 years ago, but unfortunately my book learning spoiled me for any other work, so that I grew up poorer every day, and because I had many mouths to feed, I had to turn my hands to this. There was nothing else I could do." "So you really are a scholar," exclaimed Pao. "I have been very remiss. May I ask how many sons you have, and whether your wife is in good health?" "My wife is still alive. I had 6 sons, but I cannot bear to speak of them." "What do you mean?" At this juncture, Mr. Ni was in tears. Pao refilled his cup with wine. "If you have any trouble, uncle," he said, "don't be afraid to tell me. I may be able to help you." "I had better not. If I tell you, you will laugh at me." "Who am I to dare to laugh at you? You can speak freely, uncle." "Well, the truth is that I had 6 sons, one of whom died, but now only the youngest is left at home, while the other 4... At this point he broke down again. "What happened to the other 4? "You're a good sort," said Mr. Ni, when pressed like this. "I don't suppose you will laugh at me. The truth is that because I had nothing to live on, I sold those 4 sons of mine to people living in distant provinces." When Pao heard of this, he could not help shedding tears. "The pity of it!" he cried. "That's not all, either," continued the old man, still weeping. "I shan't be able to keep even this youngest son. I shall have to sell him too." How can you and the boy's mother bear to part with him, uncle? We've nothing to eat at home. If we keep him, he will just have to starve with us. Better give him a chance to live." Pao Wen-ching felt very sorry for the old man. "I have a proposal to make," he said after a pause. But I don't know how to say it, uncle. If you have anything to say, just speak out." Pao was about to tell him, but stopped again. "Better not," he declared. "If I say it, I may offend you." "Certainly not. Say what you like and I won't be offended." "Then I'll make bold to offer a suggestion." Go on. "If you must sell your youngest son, uncle, and sell him to someone in another province like the others, you will never see him again. Now I am more than 40 years old, but I have only one daughter. I've never had a son. If you don't look down on my humble profession, but let me adopt the lad, I shall present you with 20 taels of silver and bring him up as best I can. During the festivals he can go back to see you, and if your luck changes he can return to you for good. How would that be?" "If you will do that," cried Mr. Ni, "it must mean that my boy's lucky star is on the rise. Of course I agree. But if you adopt him and have the trouble of bringing him up, I shan't take any money from you." "Oh no," protested Pao. "I shall certainly send you 20 taels." Then they finished their meal and paid the bill. It was nearly dark when they left the tavern, so Mr. Ni went home, while Pao went back to tell his wife what had happened, and she was very pleased with the suggestion. The next morning, when Mr. Ni arrived to repair the instruments, he said to Pao, "When I went back and told my wife what we discussed yesterday, she was very grateful too. Now you have only to say the word, and I shall choose an auspicious day and bring my son over." Pao was delighted, and from that time on they addressed each other as relatives. A few days later, the Pao family invited Mr. Ni and his son to a feast to draw up the contract for the adoption, to be witnessed by the left-hand neighbor, Mr. Chang, the draper, and the right-hand neighbor, Mr. Wang, the chandler. When they had all arrived, the contract was drawn up as follows. Ni Shuangfeng, of his own free will and with the consent of his wife, gives his sixth son, Ni Ting Hisi, now 16 years old, to Pao Wen-ching as his adopted son, because Ni Shuangfeng cannot support him. The boy's name will be changed to Pao Ting-si. It will be Pao Wen-ching's duty to bring him up and find him a wife. And as a descendant of the Pao family, he will take part in the ancestral sacrifices. Both sides have agreed to this. Should the boy meet with any accident, both parties will bow to the will of heaven. This contract has been drawn up as evidence and must be kept forever. The first day of the 10th month, the 16th year of the period of Chie-cheng. When this document had been signed by Mr. Ni, and the two witnesses, Pao Wen-ching produced. When the document had been signed by Mr. Ni and the two witnesses, Pao Wen-ching produced 20 taels and gave them to Mr. Ni, who thanked them all. From that time afterwards, there were constant visits between the two families. This Ni Ting Hisi, now known as Pao Ting Hisi, was a very clever lad, and since he had come from a good family, Pao would not train him for the stage, but made him study for 2 years before taking him into the business. When the boy was 18, old Mr. Ni died. Pao Wen-ching contributed several dozen taels for the funeral, and went several times to mourn beside the coffin, instructing his adopted son to put on heavy mourning and follow the coffin to the grave. Gradually, Ting Hisi proved himself very useful. His stepmother could not forget that he was an adopted son, and did not love him as she did her own daughter and son-in-law. But Pao Wen-ching loved him more than if he had been his own son, because he came from a respectable family. He took the lad with him wherever he went. Whenever he went out to tea shops and taverns or on business trips, and he let him earn commissions so that he could buy new clothes, caps, shoes, and socks. He was thinking, too, of finding a wife for him. One morning he was just about to go with Pao Ting Hisi, when a man on a donkey rode up to their door, dismounted, and came in. Pao Wen-ching saw that it was Shao, a steward of Minister 2 of Tianjin County. "When did you come over, Mr. Shao?" he asked. "I crossed the river specially to see you, Mr. Pao." Pao bowed to him and told his son to bow too, then asked Shao to sit down and brought him water to wash and tea to drink. "To the best of my recollection," said Pao while the steward was drinking, "the old lady in your family must be 70 this year. Have you come over to order operas? Is your master well?" You've guessed rightly, Shao laughed. My master told me to order 20 plays. Do you have a company of your own, Mr. Pow? If you do, we'll ask your company over. I have a small company, and we shall be very glad to do what we can. But when will you be wanting us? At the end of the month. Having told the donkey man to bring in the luggage and take the donkey back, Shao extracted a parcel of silver from his bedding and handed it to Pow. Here are 50 taels of silver, Mr. Pow, to be going on with, he said. The rest will be paid when your company has arrived. Pow Wen Cheng accepted the money, and that evening prepared a feast with large dishes and big bowls to entertain the steward till nearly midnight. The next day, Shao went out shopping, and after he had shopped for 4 or 5 days, he hired a boat and went back. Pow then packed up and took Pao Ting Hisi and his company to perform at Minister Tu's house in Tianjin County. They stayed there for over 40 days, and made nearly 200 taels of silver. All the way back, father and son were expressing their gratitude to the Tu family, for the old lady had given each of the young actors, and there were over a dozen of them, a padded jacket and pair of shoes and socks as an extra. When the boys' parents knew of it, they were very grateful and came to thank Pow Wen Cheng, who was now giving performances as before in Nanking. One day they went to Shangho to perform at night. The opera ended just before dawn, and the players took back the properties, while Pow and his son visited a bathhouse and had some tea and cakes and walked back slowly. The opera ended just before dawn, and the players took back the properties, while Pow and his son visited a bathhouse, had some tea and cakes, and walked slowly back. There's no need to go in, said Pow when they reached their gate. A man at Inner Bridge has ordered plays for tomorrow. We may as well go to collect payment now. Pow Ting Hisi followed his father to Lane End, where they saw a yellow umbrella, 4 red and black capped guards, a canopy, and a big seat and chair coming towards them. Realizing that this must be a high official from another district passing that way, father and son stood back against the wall to watch and let the umbrella and guards go past. When the canopy passed them, they saw written on it, Prefect of Anqing. Pow Wen Cheng was looking at the canopy when the seat and chair came up. The official in the chair gave a start at the sight of him, and when Pow turned back to look at the official, he saw that it was no other than Mr. He Sung, the former magistrate of Antung, who had now been promoted. As soon as the chair had passed, the official spoke to one of his black-coated runners, who rushed over to Pow Wen Cheng. His Excellency asked whether you are Mr. Pow, said the runner. Yes, I am. Was your master promoted from Antung? Yes, His Excellency is staying in the Chang family riverside house by the examination school, and he asked you to call on him there. This said, he darted off to catch up with the chair. Pow took his son to a chandler's shop near the examination school, where he brought a card on which he wrote, Your servant Pow Wen Cheng pays his respects. When they reached the Chang house by the river and heard that Mr. He Sung had already come back, Pow handed the card to the gatekeeper. Please tell His Excellency, he said, that Pow Wen Cheng is waiting to see him. The gatekeeper took the card and said, Wait here. Pow and his son had been sitting on the bench for some time when a boy came out from the house. Gateman, he called. His Excellency asked whether a Mr. Pow Wen Cheng has come or not. Yes, I've got his card here, said the gatekeeper, and hurried to present it. Then they heard someone calling, Show him in at once. Pow told his son to wait outside while he went in with the gatekeeper. When he reached the house, Mr. Heesing came out, wearing a civil dress and a gauze cap. So my old friend is here, he said with a smile, when Pow knelt down to pay his respects. Mr. Heesung raised him up with both hands. If you insist on being so polite all the time, my friend, he said, you'll make things very difficult for me. He begged him to be seated. Then after kneeling once more, Pow sat down on the lowest stool, and Mr. Heesung sat down too. More than 10 years have passed since we parted, said the official. I am old now, and your beard is turning white. Pow stood up. I did not know of your promotion, Your Excellency, he said. I have not yet congratulated you. Please sit down, said Mr. Heesung, and I will tell you about it. After 2 years in Antung, I became first a sub-prefect magistrate, and then a sub-prefect in Sichuan, and only this year was I promoted to this office. What have you been doing at home since Mr. Su died? I was an actor by profession, and when I came home I had nothing to do. So I have been making a living by training a small company. Who is the young man walking with you? He is my son. I left him at the gate, not daring to bring him in. "But why not?" asked Mr. Heesing, and sent a man to invite Master Pao to come in. When a boy brought Ting Heesei in, his father told him to kowtow to Prefect Heesung, and the prefect raised him up. "How old are you?" he asked. "I am 17, sir," replied Ting Heesei. "He has all the air of a gentleman's son," said Mr. Heesung, and told him to sit by his father. "Is your son following the same profession as you, Wen Cheng?" he asked. "No, I have not trained him for the stage. He has studied for 2 years and is now our accountant." "That's good," said Mr. Heesung. Now I have to call on various superiors. Don't go away, but stay here to dinner. After I come back, I shall have more to say to you." He then changed his dress and carried off in his chair. Pao Wen Cheng and his son went to the servants' quarters to see old Wang, the steward who was in charge of the inner gate, whom Pao knew. They greeted each other, and Pao Wen Cheng told his son to greet Wang too. Old Wang's son was already over 30 and had grown a mustache. The old man was so taken with Pao Ting Heesei that he gave him a red silk purse embroidered with golden thread, which contained 1 tael of silver. And when Ting Heesei had thanked him, they sat down to talk until lunch. Prefect Heesing came back late in the afternoon. When he had taken off his official robes and sat down in the same room as before, he asked Pao Wen Cheng and his son to come in. "Tomorrow I have to go back to my yamen," he said, "so I shall not have time for a good talk with you." He ordered the servant boy to bring him a package of silver from his room, and this he gave to Pao. "Here are 20 taels of silver for you," he said. "After I have left, go home and get ready to leave your company in someone else's charge for the time being, so that you can come to my yamen with your son in a week or 2. I have more to say to you." Pao took the silver and thanked the prefect. "I shall come with my son to pay my respects in less than a fortnight," he said. Then Prefect Heesung kept him to a feast, after which Pao and his son went home. To bed. The next morning, Pao went back to see Prefect Heesang off, and on his return home, he and his wife decided to leave the company in charge of his son-in-law, Mr. Kiu, and the tutor, Mr. Chen. Pao then made ready all he needed for the trip, buying ribbons, soap, and other Nanking specialties for the yamen servants. A few days later, he took a boat from Westwater Gate. When they reached Chikou, 2 new passengers came aboard and sat in the cabin with Pao and his son, and in the course of conversation, Pao mentioned that he was going to Prefect Heesing's yamen. Then the 2 men, who were clerks from Anqing Prefecture, started making up to him, treating him and his son to wine and meat all the day. One night, when the other passengers were asleep, these clerks whispered to Pao, "If you can get Prefect Heesung to approve a petition we have, we will give you 200 taels. Then there is another case which is being sent up by the county yamen. If you can get the prefect to reject it, we'll give you another 300. Please put in a good word for us, Mr. Pao." "I won't deceive you, gentlemen," said Pao. "I am an old actor, a low-class fellow. The prefect has condescended to send for me to go to his yamen. But who am I to mention such matters to him?" You think we're lying, Mr. Pao?" asked the clerks. "Just consent to plead for us, and we'll pay you the 500 taels in advance, as soon as we land." Pao Wen Cheng laughed. "The prefect once offered me 500 taels at Antung," he said. "If I was so fond of silver, I should not have declined it as I did. But I dared not accept it. I know that I'm destined to be poor, and to live by the sweat of my brow. How can I take this money behind the prefect's back? Besides, if a man had right on his side, he would never try to bribe other people with several hundred taels, and if my request were heard, it would be unfair to the other side. That would count against me when I settle my accounts in my next life. I don't dare do such a thing, and I hope you 2 gentlemen won't do anything of the kind either. The proverb says, 'The yamen is a good place to do good deeds.' You are in the prefect's service, and you mustn't spoil his reputation, nor risk losing your own property and lives." Such talk sent chills up the 2 clerks' spines, and they changed the subject to hide their discomfiture. The next morning, Pao and his son reached Anqing, and sent in their card at the gate of the prefect's house. Prefect Heesing ordered their luggage to be put in the library where they were to stay. Every day, Pao and his son ate at the same table as the prefect's relatives, and he presented them with several lengths of silk and cloth to make new inner and outer garments. One day, Prefect Heesing sat down with Pao Wen Cheng in the library. "Is your son engaged?" he asked. I have not been able to afford it. I have not yet been able to afford it." "I have a proposal, then. I have a proposal, but I am afraid of offending you. If you agree, however, it will give me great pleasure." "How dare I disobey your instructions, sir?" "You know my chief steward, Wang. He has a daughter who is very clever and a great favorite with my wife, who keeps the girl with her and combs her hair and binds her feet herself. She is 17 this year, the same age as your son. The Wangs have served my family for 3 generations, and I have looked out his bond and given it back to him to show that I no longer consider him as a servant. I have also brought a clerk's post for his son, so that after 5 years he can become a district prison warden. If you have no objection, your son can marry into the Wang family. Then he will have a brother-in-law who is in the official world. What do you say?" "This is too kind of you, sir. I don't know how to express my gratitude. But my son is an ignorant boy. Mr. Wang may not want him as his son-in-law. I have spoken to him, and he is very fond of the lad. The wedding won't cost you a cent. All you need do is write a card tomorrow and call on Wang. I shall be responsible for the bed curtains, bedding, clothes, trinkets, and feasts, and see the young couple are properly married. All we ask of you is to be the father-in-law." Pell knelt down and thanked him, but Prefect Heesung raised him up with both hands. "This is nothing," he said. "In future I must find a better way to repay your kindness." The next day, Pao Wen-cheng took his card to call on Old Wang, and Old Wang returned the call. At midnight, an officer from the provincial government suddenly rode up, accompanied by the sub-prefect in a sedan chair. Marching straight into the hall, they asked for Prefect Heesung. The whole Yarman was in a flurry. "This looks bad," they said. "He must have come to take away the prefect's seal." But to know whether Heesung was demoted or not, you must read the chapter which follows.